be here.
Ravi, you and Srini sir cannot leave. I mean,
Oh my God.
it is hard.
There.
How can you even ask? It is only 1 hour.
And why others are Mohana Priya, Karthik, Pavitra, Ashmi Yadav, Fatima.
There is a lot of students there.
Rashmi has come.
Yes,
I can see her name pop up.
I think it's open to public.
No, not yet. I think Priya is controlling that. Srini sir, you met Bhavya, right? Asian Bharathan. Bhavya and Prasanna, are you introduced to Srini sir? He is our immediate past president, architect.
Chairman.
Sir,
Chairman.
good evening, sir.
Past chair question. Sorry, I keep saying president.
Hi, sir. My name is Prasanna.
Meeting you,
Sir,
Mr.
go to become president only. See, my wish.
Talking to you, sir.
Ma'am,
Nice to get
actually,
introduced to
we
you, sir.
started getting the outside participants.
Chairman.
Hi, sir.
All right.
We have a huge, quiet, unusual. All people coming in as they come in. I'll shut off my sound.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. கேக்குது நல்லா.
Kekada. Okay. I think why the total session is so silent. See,
No,
in
not
fact,
at
it's a very nice gathering.
You can tell us about your own
Somebody is having
Somebody's
both.
microphone has some problem.
Someone has to.
Yeah, now it's fine, sir.
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay.
Okay. We have to start sharp 4 o'clock. Later join பண்ணா let it be.
Yeah, I can
So we can have more
accept them
fun,
if they come late also, sir. Maybe we can start. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start.
Chairman in Chennai or Madurai?
யாரு?
Question.
JP.
Both na.
Person.
யாரும் கேள்வி.
Right now you are in Chennai or Madurai?
இல்ல சென்னையில இருக்கேன் நானு.
Okay.
வந்துட்டேன். போல மதுரை போல.
Okay. Battery charge.
மீட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க.
அதான். I'm just going down to pick up my charger.
Right.
I have never had such item. Prasanna, how long were you in Oman? Were you living there?
No, ma'am. Actually, my visas are still valid, but I was there for last 20 years, 2 decades. I spent there.
You stayed there.
Yeah, with my family and everybody.
Pita, Utsav have joined.
Sorry?
Utsav have joined now.
Utsav is here. Utsav has met, I think.
Sir, I am here already.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, hi Utsav.
I joined half an hour back.
Yeah.
I'm good, sir. How are you?
We are waiting for Indu to join. Utsav, can you just give her a call? She's
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I think it is 4 o'clock, so we will start our session.
Yeah, the YouTube live was also started, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Priya. A very warm good evening to one and all. Triple ID Chennai and Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute brings Decode, a knowledge series aimed to educate, equip, empower our design community of students, academicians, practicing designers, consultants, through experience sharing by domain experts. These sessions will provide a technical insight into building services basics and update us on the product trends. That is why we have a domain expert in Prasanna Venkatesh, who has consented to join us today, and also Bhavya Jain from representing Asian Bath Sense here with us today. Thank you so much to the both of you for finding time, because nothing can be a better teacher than learning from experience. From the mistakes of others, if we can learn, what better? With that, I would now say that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So I would like to invite one such leader, our chairperson, Chennai Regional Chapter, Triple ID, Architect Jay Pandian, to welcome the audience.
Thank you, Pranita. Good evening, one and all. On behalf of Institute of Indian Interior Designers, Chennai Regional Chapter, I would like to welcome all IID members, faculty of architecture, Dr.MGR Educational Institution and Research, and all architects, interior designers, and students to this webinar Decode 1.0. Institute of Indian Interior Designer, popularly called IIID, was founded in 1972 to establish good professional trade practice and ethics amongst members within the country and abroad. Today, with nearly 10,000 members in 32 chapters and centers across India and Dubai, IIID has well-defined aims and objectives towards fulfillment of its duties towards the fraternity, profession, and society at large. IIID promotes research and scientific work in connection with interior design. IIID conducts continuing educational program, workshop, seminar, program for the benefit of its institution members. Our IID Chennai Regional Chapter had started this journey from 21st April 1999, and recently we celebrated 21st Saturday very grandly. Today, IID Chennai Regional Chapter have initiated with Faculty of Architecture, Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute, Chennai, to enhance and enlighten in a different perspective in the area of architecture and interior design. To emphasize on this scenario, how an architectural practice has been important for qualifying architectural students who are future designers of India.
Yeah, it is coming in the live streaming.
To face the emergence of stimulating trends and lovable challenges in the design world of practice, often been pronounced as design code, that is Decode 1.0. Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. So IIID insists on this avenue, and we propose that the learning is expanded through a collaborative activity
Is it coming?
amongst practicing designers, consultants, academicians,
Hello?
and students.
Actually, in live streaming?
Hence,
No, in live
Decode,
streaming, it is actually
that
coming
is
from-
design code, in today's practice, the design will
I can, yeah, you
vary
cannot see because
pattern,
the
and the
actually kept him on
codes
the-
will keep track and
Yeah.
reverberate with the design to achieve specific technical requirements of quality, environmental health, and safety management. The crux of this series is to facilitate the investigation of different building services that constitute an enormous range of inquiries which can be answered with support case studies in building service verticals. These tracks will enhance the perspective of the knowledge gained through academics and address significant opportunities and challenges during our practice. Decode is a success secret of SMART. Let's stimulate it from grassroots. Certain events are historical in this world. Changes made things in the life. May here one such event to transform and to succeed. Keep your observance open to seek better learning. Here, I would like to appreciate our acceptance of conducting this program and the effort taken by Professor Dr. Sweta Mansunan, Dean, and Professor Vidya for coordinating the whole event, from Faculty of Architecture, Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute, and our IID members who is having educational portfolio, Architect Indu Sumar, the coordinator Dr. Pranita Verma, and Mr. Utsav, and all our MC members to make it and coordinate to frame this enlightening event. Today we have a strong personality in building service domain. Engineer Prasanna Veres from Aperture Engineering Consultancy, Madurai. He has over 2 decades of experience in multiple countries and a wide range of projects. So happy to welcome you, sir. And here we have Mr. Bhavyas Jain from Asian Pathsense. Is going to give product presentation on water supply and sanitation accessories to better understanding about this session. Happy to welcome you, sir. So once again, I have to welcome
all the participants all over India. Thank you.
and I am done.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. As you said, IIID has continued education program as a central thought, as a central philosophy, and that is where all of us, even practicing designers and architects, are so happy to be a member of IIID. Moving on to invite our next speaker, Dr. Shweta Madhusudan. Somehow you remind me so much of the quote from Ratan Tata, ma'am, when he said that if you want to walk fast, walk alone, but if you want to walk far, walk together. So the collaboration and the opportunity that Dr. MGR University has set with IIIT is a very meaningful journey for all of us together as we try and strengthen the community of designers and architects. So I invite you to now share your address with us and also tell us about MGR University. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranita. Good evening, all. On behalf of Faculty of Architecture, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, I extend a warm welcome to our beloved chairman, IIIT Chennai chapter, Jayapandian sir, and our coordinator, Pranita Verma, and our past chairman, Mr. Vaidyanathan sir, and my dear friend, Ravi Meenakshi Sundaram sir, and all other dignitaries of IIIT, our distinguished speaker of the day, Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh, and our product presenter, Mr. Bhavya Jain, and all my dear participants for the State of the Art webinar series, Decode, conducted by us in collaboration with IIIT Chennai chapter. Faculty of Architecture, Dr. MGR University, was established in the year 1993. And since then, we've been running BR course. Now, in the year 2012, we started offering MArch programs with 3 disciplines, namely construction project management, landscape architecture, and interior architecture. I'm also proud to announce that we're also offering a PhD program since 2018. In addition to this, we've also been offering a B Design course successfully with a third batch of students under Faculty of Design. I proudly present to you a small video of the Faculty of Architecture and Design. I once again welcome you all and thank you so much for the opportunity given to us to collaborate with you, esteemed organization. Thank you. Thank you so much. On to you, Mona Priya. Please present that video, ma.
Architect Vidya ma'am. Architect Vidya ma'am.
So these are the courses. I think there's some problem with the sound. So I shall just explain to you. That's our chairman's president. Our coming next is our VC, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Geeta, and our provost is a dynamic person, and our registrar, Mr. Parnivel sir, and our director, Meenakshi ma'am. She is the first lady of architect of Anna University, myself, and our HOD architect Radhika, and our additional HOD architect Taskin. I'm sorry, there's a small problem with the audio, so I'm just talking. So you have to bear with my voice. They are our pillars. So it's a Faculty of Architecture comes under a university, and these are the infrastructure facilities which we have, and we've been collaborated with a lot of international university like the South Ural State University, Malaysian University, and also IIT jointly collaborated with some programs like projects, few small projects, and also we have a research cell called the Fujian IEDC, where we have been granted around 10 lakhs with Virginia Tech University for research programs. And our students have been engaged with a lot of site visits, tours, and field visits, which is a part of the curriculum. And this is, we also offer a joint vertical studio with a BArch, MArch, and also B Design program. So this is a tour with the South Ural State University, Russia, and other universities from Croatia and Trent University, which was organized by Xavier Benedict sir. And few workshops and hands-on workshops and a model making workshop, which is part of our activity and the industrial visit organized by us. So this is a small edible garden created by our landscape students, an interior workshop by our MArc interior students. So every semester we used to organize educational tour. This is an international conference, and this is how we with external jury conducted every semester. Sheets are being displayed in our studios. Some of the events, and every year we used to organize a grand event called Sketch. It's a inter-college event, extracurricular event. So that's it as a small video, and I once again welcome and thanks for the opportunity given to us. Thank you. Please, Pranita, to you. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shatan. That was really a good snapshot of all that you are doing, and it is very inspiring for all of us to see that how well the next generation is getting trained and the community may grow. I would, without much ado, I would request Utsav to introduce our guest speaker for today. Utsav.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a privilege to introduce Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh, who brings his rich experience in MEP of almost 25 years in the Middle East, particularly in Oman, and for the last few years in Tamil Nadu. He has handled not only simple residential projects, but also sophisticated large-scale industrial projects too. Who better to learn from, isn't it? He owns a design consultancy firm by the name Aperture Engineering Consultancy in Madurai. And now he is on a mission to implement world-class design standards in India with economical and friendly. Thank you.
The stage is all set, and yes, thank you, sir. Prasanna, the stage is all set for the learning to begin. I know I am looking forward to learning. So, Priya, I think it's time to bring the focus on our speaker.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Hello, good evening to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah, good evening to all. It was a nice, wonderful speech given by all the people. Before I start my presentation, I would like to quote from Buddha. There is a no wealth like knowledge, and no poverty like ignorance. And one more quote from Dalai Lama, which brings the right to the occasion. Share your knowledge. It's a way to achieve immortality. So with that, I will start my presentation. Right. The purpose of this webinar, I know you people might have done a lot of projects and some people are learning stage. Myself bring you a plumbing and sanitation knowledge to you, to shed more lights on plumbing and sanitation, and also to enhance your already gained knowledge on this subject. And most importantly, to bridge the gap between architect, interior designer, and surface engineer over the conflict of interest. So key point what I'm going to address today is a basic of plumbing and sanitation and what standards to be followed for both domestic and overseas projects, impact of plumbing sanitizing inside the building and also outside the building, and how to be eco-friendly while we design and while we execute the work, and some illustrative photographs from various projects which we executed that will give a more idea about all the subject on this. Coming first, let us start with the plumbing. In the plumbing, in a simple term, It's nothing but a water service which is fed to the fixtures, appliance, equipments, and outlets via pipe, either hydraulically or gravitationally. The fixtures, in the sense, in our household, we used to have all closets, bathtubs, bib tap, etc. Appliance, dishwasher, washing machine, ice machine, etc. The equipment, it varies from simple to complex. A simple kitchen equipment like combi oven to more complex industrial process needs. These all the piping need to be done. That's so that all this item we call as a plumbing. Sanitation. Sanitation is a foul wastewater or soil-based collect water from different fixtures, appliance, equipment via pipe, either hydraulically or gravitationally. Gravitationally means the pipe runs from higher level to the lower level.
He's not shared his screen.
The gradient pipe. Normal instance, all the waste and soil water runs via slope. It needs to be at a certain slope, maybe 1:100 or 1:160, based on the design, and it connects to the holding tank.
Sorry to interrupt, Prasanna. I think you have to share the screen. We are not able to see your screen.
Is it?
Okay. Yes, sorry.
One second, sorry. Is it okay?
Yeah, just now it's opening, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was not noticing that. Okay, let's start again. The sanitation.
Sir, 1 minute.
Actually, sanitation.
Your presentation is not opened yet. 1 minute.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm sorry about it. Okay. Sanitation. Sanitation, in a simple term, foul wastewater or soil wastewater collects from different fixtures and appliance via pipe. It runs to either hydraulically or gravitationally. The gravitationally pipe runs from higher level and lower level. Normal instant, all the waste and soil water runs via pipe in slope and connects to the holding tank, which I told you earlier. When it comes to the hydraulic, so the wastewater, whichever soil water collects in the holding tank, needs to be pumped out and it will be collected to STP, sewage treatment plant, using sewage pumps. In earlier days, sanitation was done on single stack system. That is, both the grey water and wastewater they used to collect in a single vertical pipe and they brings down to the septic tank. Now in modern times, the system has evolved. We are practicing a double stack system. In double stack system, the wastewater will go separate, grey water will go separate from the starting point to the external manhole. From the manhole, it can go in a single pipe. The purpose of double stack system is to avoid a foul smell system and also to have easier maintenance, and also the identification can be easy. We can label it properly and that can be done. For any sanitation work, the venting is very much important because now I've seen many projects due to improper venting, the smell is there, so that creates a lot of nuisance. So it is better to have one dedicated vent pipe from septic tank to the higher roof, not to terminate it below under. It should be terminated on top, extreme top, above the parapet, with vent core and covered with bird screening. Okay, coming to the standards. See, any project, India or overseas, we need to follow some certain standards at various levels. So precisely, we need to start from the drawing board itself, till it will go to the commissioning stages. Bad design or not adopting any design, any standards will completely ruin the project. So non-standard plumbing and sanitation design or construction, what will happen is at the end of the day, it will add a huge maintenance cost indirectly to the end user, which in turn will spoil the relation with clients. So always you need to, whenever you give any product or project, you need to be double sure that your design is foul-proof so that customer is always satisfied. So in India, what we follow? In India, we follow plumbing standard NBC, National Building Code, Volume 2, Part 9. That includes the solid waste management as well. For the overseas project, they used to follow a plumbing design service guide, which is published by Institute of Plumbing. So those books, those guidelines will give you a better idea how to do a proper plumbing design. The bottom line is that, see, you need to always engage certain MEP service consultant, so who might have a certain experience on the back, and they can do a proper design so that your project or product will have a good reach. So now it's a very interesting thing, the architect's perspective. What are things you need to consider? As a service engineer, we used to design and we used to deliver the material. But the architect's perspective, I have listed some items which is for the small scale to large scale. See, for any architect or any builder, first, what is the size of water sump or overhead tank? They need to size it. So, what is the size of holding tank, sewage septic tank? And is the project require pumps or not? Or do you require a mechanical shaft or not? That to provide the gratings and channels. And what are the small nitty-gritty you need to understand while do a plumbing and sanitation in toilets? And what kind of requirement of water heater required? And requirement of remote dialysis and UV filters. These things we'll cover it up detail. One by one we'll cover it up. So let's first start with the pump, water sump. So it's a basic understanding only. Everybody should know basics of this. See, as per standard, NBC, what it says is a per capita demand per person is 180 liters per day. So for a family of 4, if you multiply by 4, you get a 720 liters per day, which is the minimum requirement as per the standards. So you need to have a tank size for minimum of 15 days holding capacity. Sometimes what happens, there will be a disruption in line, maintenance work will be going on. So we suggest to have a 15 days capacity. By that, doing that, you will arrive a pipe some size of 2.4 by 2 meter by 2.4. So this will have a close to 11,500 liter capacity of water. Right. Then comes to the borewell pumps. What are the pumps are there in the building? First and foremost is borewell pumps. This in India normally they will start. This is the first work. The IS code 10,500 1991 governs the water quality standards. What are the standards to be taken care while you are pumping out the water from the ground? See, the chemical parameters like iron, fluoride, TDS, arsenic, and nitrate. These are the very important parameters which normally need to be tested. Most of the time they don't do. They just taste the water and they see water is very sweet, they're good and all. But we suggest to have one lab test. You can go to the government appointed lab. They can test it for free also. The submersible pump. When we are putting a submersible pump, now there are a lot of kinds of pumps that come. You have a submersible pump, there's a jet pump. But what is widely used in residential project is submersible pump. Submersible pump, you have some single phase capacity electricity is available in the market. Based on your yield, what is the level of water, this diameter of the borewell is determined. On some rule basis, if your water table is in and around of the area is 100 feet, 5-inch bore feet is enough. Till it goes up to 500 feet. So that you can put a 4-inch pump into that. If water table is lower than 500 feet, it goes beyond 500 feet. We prefer to go for 6-inch bore feet so that you can accommodate a bigger pump. Basically, the pump capacity is mostly based on your verticals, your long runs, horizontals, overheads, all sort of discharge, friction loss, all sort of things need to be considered. So that is a different chapter altogether. And total head, as I said, determine using the depth of the pump and overhead of the tank where you are keeping it, and what is the friction loss you are getting it from suction to the end point. Adding to the pumps, there are other pumps which we use normally. We call a technical name for that. One is a booster pump, which normally boosts the pressure in the system. You can see that it will be normally in the roof tanks, close to the tank, where you have a high-rise building, the top floor will not have sufficient pressure. So we used to put a booster pump on them to meet the demand. Transfer pump, it will be used widely in India because there will be underground sump pit will be there. They used to put on small pump which used to transfer the water to the overhead tank. So the technical term for that one we call as a transfer pump. Sewage pump, which is very, very rarely used in household area because we have a complete centralized system in Tamil Nadu. In all the corporations, we have a main line. So what we do is from our septic tank or holding tank, we put our delivery line to the manhole. So which intake will take care of the corporation line. So sometimes if the areas are very isolated, where there is nothing, there is no line at all, and the
Okay,
water,
now is it okay? Now
soil
it's
is rocky,
Yeah.
you cannot have a soak pit. So what is the option? You need to pump it. So that is why they can do it in either way. Either you can pump it to the irrigation nearby, so that you can get a manure and you can do a irrigation also. Otherwise, you need to pump it on a weekly basis based on the capacity of the tank. Right. The mechanical shaft. Generally, these are provided in high-rise building, not for the G+1 or G+2. This is required mandatory for, I would say, for MEP person, we required mechanical shaft. So shafts are to be provided very close to the toilet, so that you don't waste some other usable areas like living spaces and all. And also catch should be taken. Catch cannot be done derived as you based on some small sizes, whatever area is available. It needs to be seen whether the maintenance team can impact after completion of the work, whether that workability is there. Those things need to be considered. While we design, we take care of all those things. But coming to the architect and interior design concern, so they may think that why shaft is required, it will be noisy and all, because when the flow of water is there, there will be sound. To avoid that, we insist on using a soundproof pipe. Now the technology has so much evolved, you get soundproof pipe. Astral is producing that, you have a pipe. And some new project we can do that. When it comes to the new renovation project, there the pipes are already there, but you need to do some interior design to cover it. We prefer to go insulation. There is a insulation available. We call it acoustic insulation, which will reduce its noise. You can put acoustic insulation all around the pipes. And if you feel that when you put a shaft inside the home, it looks ugly in the corner, you can do some decorative elevation to that. This is one important thing. That it's always a problem when we have done a lot of projects. When we do initial jobs, when we do a pipeline, last minute the architect or somebody, some client will come. I don't want the grating there. They want something differently. So architect and interior design always want the blind. They want to keep this floor grating somewhere in the blind spot so that it is not visible. Whereas service designer want to do as per the design. How to overcome this? Very simple. Initially, there should be a coordination. The service design drawing needs to be coordinated with the architect tile layout. They need to freeze the floor grill. Architect, you have a say in that. You can tell them, no, I want a grating there. Based on that, the service engineer, plumbing designer can design the pipe route so that this problem will not come. Okay, what are the impact of plumbing inside the toilet and kitchen? See, architect and interior designer, as far as possible, they want all the lines should be considered. They don't want anything exposed because that's how they deal with all the projects. When plumbing and consultant, we used to run our hot water and cold water at certain mounting heights. We call as a BOP, bottom of pipe, which is a standard everywhere, mostly in India. 1 feet for cold water and 1.5 feet for hot water. So we need to, but one thing I need to tell that most of the projects I have seen, they just blindly put the pipe and seal it. They don't do a pressure test. I'm talking mostly Indian projects. We need to do a pressure test before and after fixing the tile so that it is ensured that the finished product will not get reworked again. And when it comes to drainage line, sunken slab, it is running mostly in the sunken slab, and sometimes there is no sunken is provided, but there is a porcelain provided underneath. We can put a core cut. I have a lot of slides to that. I will show you in coming slides. That will be more informative to you, other than the explaining text on this. Kitchen, see, mostly we have noticed that a lot of Indian projects, they forgot to provide hot water. See, it's good to provide hot water. We will not say that insist on that, but it is always better to provide hot water supply to the kitchen sink. For the two reasons. See, when you wash your vegetables and all by washing on hot water, a lot of germs is killed. It's good for that. And that is the one important thing. And sometimes hot water can be used for washing the vegetables or washing the noodles items and all. So that is useful actually. And nani trap, when we put in the kitchen, in India, the nani traps are there. In Western countries and Middle East, there is no nani trap. We used to put a full flow trap only. Non-trap, normally we prefer to put inside the counter, that means below the counter, so it won't be visible. And I have noticed many Indian projects, the rain RO plant, RO setup will be there, but you know that they don't bother to drain in proper way. They just leave the drain tube in the sink. So it will be keep on, water will be flowing. Most of the houses will have like that. I'll come to that when I go to the RO section, I'll explain more into it. Okay, hot water system. See, hot water system normally is required nowadays during the winter season for shower, bathtub, body shower, and jacuzzi for that. It is advisable, as I said earlier, to provide kitchen also, and washer and where near the dining area also we can provide. And especially dishwasher machine, you need to provide a hot water supply. Water heater. There are two types of water heaters are generally available. One is a standalone water heater, which is normally enough for the individual household. Capacity actually varies. It's from tiny one to the bigger one we are getting it. And if it is a high-rise building, we have a centralized electrical water heater and also solar water heater. This water heater comes in a variety of ranges from 50 liter to 300 liter. That also I'll show a slide which will be more informative. See, when it comes to the centralized hot water system, you need to introduce the hot water circulation system pump. Why it is required? You need to maintain the temperature, because when the hot water starts, when it comes to the temperature will falls down after some time. So when you want to maintain the hot water system in a line, you need to have a hot water circulation pump which will run automatically in case of pressure drop. Normally this is used in high-rise building and all. Okay. RO plant. See, this is normally provided in all the kitchen, mainly for cooking and drinking purpose we are using it. RO, what it does? It removes the dissolved salts and impurities to membrane, and resulting water is good for health. But it is having a slight disadvantage. I won't say it is a disadvantage. That's how the technology has been developed. It is a lot of water is getting wasted. You might have noticed in your houses also. See, basically, to get a RO water 1 liter, close to 2 liter water is drained out, which is not at all, as eco-friendly, it's a criminal waste. UV filter. UV filter does the same thing, but what is the disadvantage on this is, it will kill the bacteria, but it kills harmful bacteria present in the water, but it won't remove the bacteria. It will be there. That bacteria will remain in the suspended water. Hence, suggest RO purifier is much more hygienic compared to UV filter. Pipe exposed outside. See, you might have seen a lot of houses, even high-rise buildings in most of the Indian cities. The plumbing and sanitation was taken as a backseat. It is always on externally, it is exposed. The pipes getting exposed. You can see a lot of after some days, even the plants and all will grow in that. So abroad project, what they do, they will not keep anything out exposed. They want to put everything inside. Even if it is something seen outside, the client side, they will be very much unhappy. They will tell, why you are doing, why you are keeping it outside, it's very ugly, like that they used to tell. So my sincere advice to architects and students of faculty of architecture of MGR University, while you design it, please make double sure that try to put the pipe concealed wherever it's possible, but that needs to be tested before it is come into operation. That is paramount. Without testing, we cannot connect the pipe. And I would also request architects and builders to consider roof water gully in the portico, because in the portico, even though it's 10 feet from the NGL, when it comes to the rain, after rain, there will be chokage of water, and it keeps on, water keeps on, small spout pipe will be there, which keeps falling in car park areas and all. So if you have a small 3-inch rainwater downtake, it will be much elegant, and it will be more good in design. And while you consider the building, apart from your consideration on one side, please do consider the plumbing in the element which is coming on the external side, like manhole. You please discuss with your plumbing consultant what is the size required, how much rainwater harvesting fit is required. All this you consider before you finish your final output. This one will be quite interesting, because see, this is been recently I also faced the problem. pipe sleeves. Now, while in a construction like India, most all big companies they used to follow, but moderate companies and small scale they don't follow. While they won't invite a plumbing or MEP consultant or MEP drawing during the course of the work. The MEP electrical or be it electrical or plumbing or sanitation, they will come to the project after the slabs has been casted, which is not at all correct. In abroad and all, we used to go day one. MEP has to be part of the team. So the builders work they used to prepare. The MEP team will prepare a builders work day that needs to be shared with the architect and structural people. So that time when the structural drawing comes out for the construction, they used to have an exact location of sleeve where the pipe sleeve is required. So this will be helpful for structural engineer also to consider what are the elements goes in so that they design in a precise manner. If the builder's work has been adopted at the site level during the course of work, you don't need to do core cut, unnecessary core cut. If you put a core cut in slab or beam, ultimately you will have that at the result you will get it. But what you are losing out, you are losing out your precious time and also cost is going to increase in your project schedule. This you need to please take care. Okay, coming to the fall ceiling, if you have a nice fancy villa, complete fall ceilings are there. You might have seen a lot of cassette units are there and some pipelines are there, but they will not provide access door. Interior designer, they hate a door to the extent that they want to hide. They don't want to see that because they want to see the complete ID element only. So without access door, MEP team will have difficulty in maintenance. So this needs to be considered while designing a reflector ceiling plan. They need to see how best to reduce the access door so that plumbing or electrical designer or HVAC designer can redesign accordingly so that fall ceiling area looks neat, elegant, and at the end of the day, it looks so good. So the main, you need to consider the access door while you are doing a reflector ceiling plan. Okay, and one more thing. See, in roof, now in roof slab, there are certain equipments which some projects is very minor only, but big projects that have load, like water tank, solar water heater, HVAC equipment, pumps. This has some dead loads. These loads need to be shared while doing a design to structural engineer, to architect, so that they will design. Structural point of view, they will put some extra rods into that so that design will be precise. Architect point of view, they will suggest that no, don't keep close to the parapet wall, bring it inside so that the vision will be, the view of elements will be reduced. So this needs to be considered while you are designing roof slab. Okay, now we have discussed about plumbing and sanitation. I will tell you the pipe materials. These are the very basic. You might have known this, but still it's a good to learn also to refresh your mind. See, in olden days, we used to have all sort of MS pipe and GA pipe. You can see the plumbers used to come with the jute, chalk, and shellac and all, lot of wastage and all. Now, you know, the technologies have been developed so much. So now the pipes, lot of pipes are available. You have options to select based on the requirement. CPVC. This has been used widely in India for internal and external. Internally, they are using for water lines. External also they are using for water lines. It is having a good resistance in corrosion, and also it can withstand a certain temperature, more than 120 degrees. Copper pipe. Why I am saying copper pipe is in abroad, in especially Middle East, they don't use a PVC pipe inside the building, be it water line, because they use copper pipe. Copper pipe is more resistant to corrosion, and it has some properties which is good for for human system also. So copper pipe they use, but India obviously being cost is too much, they don't use. They go for CPVC, which is good enough. PPR. PPR is a polypropylene pipe mostly used in abroad and also in India also for outside external water line. It can withstand high temperature. PEX pipe now has been used widely in India. It is due to its flexibility in nature. They are using it nowadays. Villas and all, they go with the jacuzzi, rain sky, body shower and all. So they use it. But I would add here, in 7-star hotel and 5-star hotel, these pipes are mandatory because they need to keep the rating once in 5 years and 6 years. they used to renovate the complete system, be it IDA, interior design, or plumbing, or LTL, or whatever it is. So during the time, they won't break all the things. So for that, those people, this specs is very, very handy, because it can be removed without disturbing the tile. I'll show you in photograph what are the, how it looks. It's very, very, very interesting. So it can be removed easily. Stainless steel pipe, very costly, and it has been used for food processing pipe, hospitals, and it has been used only for specialized works only. HDD pipe, these pipes, high density polyethylene, they use in infra job. Infra job means, it's a very big transmission line will be the distribution line will be the, this is used. I can show you a photograph which give more idea into that. Ductile pipe, this is also used in infra job only for the primary network. Primary network in the sense from the pump to the distribution tank, this has been used. Right. Now, how to go eco-friendly? How we can contribute to the ecosystem in plumbing and sanitation? Rainwater harvesting. This is a very interesting subject. Everybody should know this. As you all know that water is going costly. Day by day, it has become scarcity is there. By 2050, I read one of the book, some statistics say that there could be a war if the water is not being taken care. It's restoring of water. So how we can do it? It's not a big science or something like that. Everybody can contribute. See, I'll tell you for a simple building. Say a building of 1,000 square feet, you have a open area, roof. How much you can harvest? You will be astonished. See, in Tamil Nadu, average rainfall is 900 mm. So 900 mm, if you convert into the cubic feet, you will get around 900 cubic feet into that area, 1,000 square feet. Into 900, you get a 900 cubic feet, which in turn 25,000, 4,000 liter, 25,400 liter, which is very huge for a family of 4. Because rainwater we are using for cooking and drinking only. Okay, we can use for flushing also if you do proper filtration. See, this rainwater harvesting is not only collecting the water; it needs to be filtered properly. There is a filtration system prior to the rainwater tank. The filtration process needs to be done. It should be periodically maintained, say, once in a year. If you've done it, you are okay with that. So I will tell you how much you are going to save in there. It's a very interesting thing. If per capita, per person, 7 liters per day. When I said before 180, that is different. This is 7 liters per day only for drinking purpose and cooking purpose. So 28 liters only we are going to do, or maximum 30 per day for a family. So per year, you require only 10,220 liters only. So you don't need to buy a RO, or you don't need to buy a water from outside if you do a proper rainwater harvesting. And what I'm saying is you require only 10,220 only. But how much you are getting it for a simple 1,000 square feet? You are getting it close to 25,000 liters of water. So ultimately, what is happening? You are saving a lot of water apart from this. So what you can do the rest of the water? You need to charge it back to the Mother Earth. So what will happen? The water table will increase automatically. So you are saving the water, and also you are consuming it, and you are restoring it. So by this, if everybody contribute to the rainwater from a monetary benefit, it is indirectly how much you are saving it. So say if the RO water, whatever the water they are bringing it per day, I think close to 50 rupees. Chennai and all, I don't know. 50
Prasanna, is there a voice issue?
Yeah, I think there's some problem on his side.
Prasanna, we are not able to hear you.
We lost his voice.
No. I'll just call it and call.
But you can do it.
Prasanna, if you're able to hear me.
You're full of that. Otherwise, you can go to the person. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The voice went off, so we were just wondering.
When it went off?
Okay, it's now clear. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Have you missed some slide, or I want to go back, or what?
One slide back, maybe.
Okay. Have you eco-friendly? Have you seen that eco-friendly?
Yes, we did.
Okay, done. Okay.
We did all that, rainwater harvesting, all.
Yeah, I think this is
all that we've done. So I think it's fine, but just.
This is okay?
We were on digester, I think, when it went off.
Okay, ma'am. Is it fine? Is it okay?
Sure.
Prasanna sir, make it full screen.
Yeah, is it okay, sir? Now it's full screen.
Yeah, make it full screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's fine. Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
Now we are in solar water heater. I think this page is missed. Sorry for it.
Right.
Okay. So this basically needs to be kept in the roof. We need to collect the solar energy, and the piping can be done for the water heaters. This is done in the IRAS building. I will show the slide of that. And biodigester, it's a human waste and soil waste. Before going to the septic tank, or if there is no septic tank also, we can use it. If you are willing to go for manure or treating the effluent, you can use it. Okay, now coming to a simple shop drawing. I'm not going to take much of this. I'll say it's a simple toilet where you have one WC, one rain pipe, one wash basin. So how the text pipe is done, I'll show you. This is done in text pipe for one of the projects in Madurai.
I think there's a lag.
Yeah, again, I think there's some connectivity
Voice.
issues from his side. Yeah, yeah.
Signal issues. Prasanna, sir. Prasanna, are you able to hear?
I think he's having some connectivity issues, ma'am.
Needs to be provided always right side. Right side to that, so that, because why the reason is you always have the hand spray or ablution spray always right side to the WC. So flow trap need to be there. If any water spillage also, the water will be goes out. And the rainwater, sorry, the floor gully need to be provided.
I think some connectivity issues from his side, Pranita, ma'am.
Very carefully. I'm audible? Is that I'm audible?
Sir, can you hear?
No. For the last 5 minutes,
audible?
not very audible, not even video. Video is also in short of.
Sir, I no, sir. One
So
second,
your
sir,
presentation is visible. Yeah.
Okay, audio is not there.
Yeah, for
Prasanna,
us-
you please go back for 2 slides. You start with
Sir,
the toilet plan.
Sir, is it audible, sir?
Yeah, audible. You go back to
fine.
the plan of toilet. The simple
Right,
toilet
I'm
plan.
going,
Plan, no? Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Before that. Yeah.
Is
Next
it
one.
fine?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Okay, sir. Okay. See, this I was been talking. Sorry, some people not getting audible. Sorry for that. See, this water line, what I was discussing is, we have a 2 manifold, red color and green color, which is a hot water manifold, and right side is a cold water manifold. These pipes have been totally concealed, and it will be inside the tile. So I'll show the photograph, which will be more easily understandable. See, coming to the drainage system, this is what I've been talking about. the flow trap location. This location, please do consider this location because it should be always the right side. You need to consider the flow trap right side because your hand spray is on right side. So there is a chance of spillage of water. So please keep your flow trap always on right side. And you know here this pipes coming out to the shaft. This area only I was talking about. When there is a beam is there, you need to provide a sleeve while casting this slab or beam. Otherwise, what will happen? There is a chance of core cut, which is totally avoidable, which can be done earlier stage if you have a proper design drawing and chop drawing. Now, I'll go through some of the photographs. If I am running fast, you can tell me, I'll slow it down. Text pipe. See, this is one typical project which we did locally. You can see this is a body shower and these pipes have been bent. There is no bend.
Prasanna, again the voice has gone.
Again, there's some problem, connectivity issues from us.
But then you're seeing the PEX pipe, so if you can just probably switch to your phone to explain. Prasanna, do you want to log in, re-log in?
No need to core cut this place.
Prasanna, we could see the visual of PEX pipe, but we are unable to hear the details.
I'm presenting, is it not on? What happened?
Now we can.
I'm presenting.
So your presentation is not visible now.
Is it not visible?
Can you open up? Yeah, now it's visible. Now it's visible.
One slide because I want the students, I mean, we would want them to know about the PEX pipe.
Yeah, this one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I elaborate it further?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, see, this PEX pipe is basically a 15 mm to less than mm. This is used for both water line and also hot water and cold water. If you can see the left side photograph, these are body showers. You can see the left side body shower has a two input. One is the cold water, one is the hot water. The left side is always a hot water, right side is the cold water. So these are all connected together and all the pipes ran together and there is a manifold kept underneath the working counter. So that I will show in some other slide. And this is a right side is a system for WC and the WC is it is concealed in the ledge wall. This is a shaft what I have been discussing before. There is no shaft actually. They forgot to put a shaft, but they use a core cut for this machine, for this pipe. This can be very well avoided if you have done a proper shaft placed. Yes, this is the one interesting. If you can see the right side, there is a small opening, and you can see a copper color one. That is the manifold. Everybody can see a blue one and red one. That identifies blue one is always a cold water, hot water is always a red line. So there are two manifolds, one above each. Cold water connects to the cold water manifold, hot water connects to the hot water manifold. What is happening here is from this, the pipes are going to the each individual fixtures. The blue color and the red color is the sleeve. White is only the pipe. So when somebody wants to replace damage, nothing, we can remove the white color pipe, you just pull it out like a rope, it will come. We need to close this wall, that side and this side, remove the pipe, put a new pipe, crimp it, cramp it, then it's done. See how it is easy, no need to break your tile, rework it, it's very easy. And left side you can see a shaft. This is a shaft where you need to provide, and you know that bend of the pipe, and there is an access door which normally need to be provided. I see most of the people are not providing. This is need to be provided for rodding purpose. In case of choke, people can get into the shaft, rod it. That means clean it. Okay, this is one of the CPVC pipe which is done in Indian project in Coimbatore. Why it is CPVC pipe? You can use the water line. I already told it can withstand the temperature. So no issue on that. It's a cold water line only. This is the overseas project. What they normally do is, even though if it is a copper pipe, they don't want a heat transmission, because in Middle East and all, the temperature, ambient temperature may go up to 55 degrees. In the 55, so to protect that, they used to insulate it and they used to UV protect it. UV protection means they used to paint it. This is all painted with UV protection paint. This white color one, you can see that. This is one of the bad insulation, where the support is not provided properly. It's a PPR line. I deliberately put this slide because people used to put this block and they just ran away. They just go away out of the project, but need to be clamped. That is the reason I put this slide. Okay, this is the HDD. You can see this, it's the oversilled, it's getting bent. HDP are having a certain elasticity. It can bend to a certain degree, not to the degree of X, it can bend. So normally they use HDP pipe for distribution system. This is the HDP pipe jointing. See, for people who are interested in it, I can explain it. This pipe is jointed using the machine. It's been heated to a certain temperature and then it gets cooled off naturally. After cooling off, we will remove this clamp and there will be bead will be there. What is happening? Two pipes are butt each other, so that both face of the pipe is melted due to the temperature, and all around bead will be formed. This is called HDP pipe jointing. This person is specialist in doing that. He is doing a HDP joint. And pressure test. Abroad project, we cannot move with no client, no consultant, nobody will allow. There is a proper procedure for pressure testing forms. It needs to be tested every line. So I insist to whoever listening that in future, please do ask your plumbing team to test it without fail. This is the pressure testing process. There is a DI pipe. The DI pipe, generally they will cover it with a black polyethylene sheet, which normally used to come along with the pipe, and they will backfill it. See the bedding of the pipe with clean sand, river bed. They don't put any pebbles because that may cause damage. And backfilling has to be done.
His voice is gone. Prasanna, again your voice is gone.
Flanges are there and all this. This is for one of the big projects. Sir, I am audible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Right. This is one more photo of DI pipe. This one is a GRE pipe. You know what is GRE? GRE is actually a glass resin pipe. This is white. This is mostly they use in offshore projects and also in wasteland. This they use because of its durability, high durability. They use it. The person they said they are joining it, and you see the back how they are backing up. They are neatly done, and that layers has been bedding has been done properly. This GRE pipe properly jointed together. It's laminated. They won't call us a jointing in GRE pipe. They used to tell us a laminated. This is one of the pump room. So the HPVC pipe for the external, this pipe can be used even for external pipe also, HPVC pipe. This is for one high-end villa where we did a RO plant, sand filter and all these things. We are collecting the water from the water table and we are filtering it and we are heating it, and that RO water is being served complete for the building. Okay, this is a booster pump which I was been talking about. This is for the bigger scale. It has a pressure vessel. For normal building, you don't need a pressure vessel because the pressure vessel comes along with the pump. You can.
So your voice is again gone off, Prasanna. The challenges of being online. There's a signal issue, I think. Prasanna, if you can hear me, just
5:30 போடுங்க. அது எப்படின்னா தெரியும், தெரியாம இருக்காது.
Prasanna, are you able to hear me?
பேசிக்கலாம். ஓகே. சரி. ஓகே. நீங்க குரூப்ல போடுங்க. I think there's some connectivity again from his side.
I'm trying to call him.
Yeah. He left the meeting. Yeah. Sir, can you?
Hello?
Sir, yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, something lost. Signal was bad. Is it okay?
Sir, can you present your screen?
Yeah, I'll do it. Somebody is presenting.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yes.
Someone else
Audible.
is presenting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please present your screen, sir.
I will present it now, please. Yeah. Is it okay?
It's not visible,
Yes.
sir. 1 minute.
The presentation hasn't come in, but we can hear you.
I think there's some connectivity issues on his side.
I think there's a serious connectivity
Yeah.
issue, and actually, I'm just trying to get him to take his phone and take a hotspot.
In fact, this is a wonderful system which is been revealing today, where the thing is most of the pipelines which goes on where do not have any induction heating is
Hello?
transferred.
Is it visible?
Sir, yes, your screen is visible now. Yes. Sir.
Hello?
Your screen is
Hello?
visible, sir, now.
Okay. Okay. Where are we now, madam? Is it on water heaters?
Can you please zoom? Maximize your screen. Again, there's some connectivity issues, I think. Yeah. Pranita ma'am, can you check with?
Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
Okay, now I am in water heater. Shall I proceed with that?
Yes, sir, please. Yes.
Okay, see, this is a water heater. Normally we used to see in all the homes. This comes in the capacity of 5 liters, 10 liters, or 50 liters, which can easily cater the demand of 2 toilets. This is a roof centralized water heater. This one is an electrical water heater. This can vary from 50 liter to 300 liter, and it can cater the demand of 10 toilets maximum. Okay, this is a roof solar water heater. This has been taken in one of the projects in Coimbatore. Solar water heater and the solar panel, and this is a classic example. We can go with eco-friendly system. It can cater minimum two toilets for one panel.
Hello.
The hot water circulation pump I have been telling you before. This is not a big pump. It's a very, very small pump. See, you can see that one in the wall. I've shown in the wall. This is a very small pump. It can put it in the system, hot water system, so that the system will be always, temperature is maintained throughout this period.
Okay.
This is a UV filter. UV filter. I am audible, no? Is it audible?
Yes, Venkatesh. Otherwise,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. See, this is a UV filter. This is for one of the big projects we did. Series of UV filter we need to keep as per the design drawing. The raw water comes here and it will be UV filtered, and then it becomes RO filter. Then only it will be used for the accommodation building. Okay, ma'am. This is a mechanical shaft, which is an Indian project. When we see here, there are left side, there's a big open shaft, and you can see a lot of pipes are there. It's good enough, very good enough. But only worry here is there should not be any core cut in the beam. It should be provided a proper sleeve in the sunken slab, because sunken slab sometimes the invert beam they are giving you. When you have an inverted beam, if you have an IWC and all, definitely they will do a core cut. Otherwise, you should pipe in there. Otherwise, if the slab has been casted, beam has been casted, means we don't have any other option other than to do a core cut, like what we did in right side. This is one of the photograph inside the mechanical shaft. And support for piping is, if it is above fall ceiling, please make double sure that pipe is been properly supported, rigidly supported, and especially in the bend. Bend will have a more pressure. There is always a chance of breaking up joints. So always the pipe should be supported in the change of direction, and equally intervally we need to support. We suggest this how it has to be done. The roof, it should be neatly planned. Pipe should, then that should be a marking should be there. It is kept very close to the parapet wall. This is the rainwater harvesting manhole. This, when the rainwater, storm water comes, the water is collected and rainwater goes out. I'll show the slide that the detail. Next slide you can see that. See, we are collecting the harvesting water, and we can use for car washing and flushing purpose, and also for washing machine. This purpose we can use it, and see how it is being done. It is being, if somebody is not doing it right now, they can have a big tub and put it in a downpipe. So at least they can use it for bathing purpose. So let us not waste the water, and let it not go to drain unnecessary. And this is a good example, the rainwater gutter, and the pipe has been dropped down, and it is neatly been brought back, and it is vertically dropped down. I hope I covered everything a bit of fast, because it's a vast subject. I want to thank you all for some audio disturbance was there, and I really like to thank you. And in case of any doubt on this subject, on electrical or mechanical or plumbing and sanitation, you do please reach me. This is my number. 9025935621. Always welcome. I would like to clear your doubts. Always sharing your knowledge, as I said earlier, is always a gift to everybody. So you can also share this knowledge, whatever knowledge you today you gain, to others. Thanks one and all. Madam, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Prasanna, for I know how difficult it is to teach, and especially in a new environment like this where we are all online, and these are the challenges where we have technical glitches. But despite that, we have a very loyal audience because they have questions for you, which I shall be listing after Bhavya completes his presentation. And if anyone
Happy
wants
to
to reach out to you, they will do it through Triple ID and through their university. So we, in every
Okay,
case, I'm sure a lot of people would want to know much more about plumbing details that you've shared.
I also want to add here is what I today told is one pinch of salt only. It's actually huge subject. We cannot cover in a lot of, so it is a depth subject. So what my intention was to just to throw some ideas. So from there we can pick it up and we can, in-depth knowledge can be gained during sharing our knowledge after some time.
Very true, very true. I would now move on to the next session. And Utsav, I would request you to introduce the next speaker.
Yes, ma'am. Our next speaker for today is Mr. Bhavya Jain, a 2016 batch alumni of XLRI, specialized in marketing and strategy. He is at present the brand manager of Asian Bath Sense and Royal. Some of us may be aware that Asian launched Bath Sense that brings design innovations and flawless functionality in bath fittings and sanitary ware. Today, he will lead us through a range of products that almost every building we design has to have, and is also required the most coordination between the different agencies. Bathrooms. Let's learn more from Asian Baths, Mr. Jain. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Utsav. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you, Triple ID team, for giving me this opportunity to present here, and thank you to the Institute MGR again for this opportunity. I have a small deck for you. What I'll try and do is, update on some of the things which are there in the bath space. Is my screen visible to everyone, and am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes.
Your presentation is not visible.
Is it visible now? Because I've shared it. If not, I'll reshare it.
Yes. Now it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So, as per the introduction, I am a part of Asian Paints Bath division. We have three brands when it comes to Bath: SS, Bath Sense, and Royal. Bath Sense being our main foray into the brands and having the different products that I'm going to talk about. So, cutting right to the chase, since this is supposed to be a small session. So thank you, Mr. Prasanna, for the informative session earlier. And he talked a lot about behind the wall items, the plumbing, and what goes behind it. Let's talk a little about what actually comes to the front of it, the products which would be noticed when you actually step into a bathroom. So broadly speaking, CP fittings and sanitary ware products are actually used in 4 areas. In your house, the bathroom and the kitchen. In the bathroom, we can divide it into 3 areas further, which are the dry area, semi-wet area, and wet area. On the other hand, in the kitchen, we use the products only in the sink area, right? So these are broadly the areas in which CP fittings and sanitary ware products are generally used, in a house. So talking about the dry area. So firstly, which is this area that I'm talking about right now? So basically, dry area, is the area which is used for washing hands. It typically houses a wash basin, a pillar tap, or a basin mixer. I'll come to the difference between the two shortly. It also has smaller auxiliary items like angle cocks, waste cupping, and bottle traps. These are meant to provide water to the pillar tap and take it away to the waistline. So that is what their functions are. And as you can see in the image, what you see beneath the basin is something which is called a vanity. It is a aesthetically pleasing item which is also used for storage these days a lot, especially used in premium bath spaces. So that is also another product which is being used right now, but it's optional. You can also do away with it if there is no need for that. Since the wash basin is the most prominent part of the space, which makes or breaks the look of this space, it is sometimes also referred to as the basin area, right? So this is what encompasses a dry area. Now coming to the components which actually make up the dry area, like I mentioned, wash basin is a very important part of it. So wash basin can be installed in a couple of different ways, and basis that its naming convention and its looks also differ. So what you see in the image and the first type of a basin is something which is called a tabletop basin, right? As the name indicates, it comes above the counter. So there is a counter which is made for keeping stuff, and the basin is installed on the top of it. So it gives a very premium look. There are a lot of different finishes which are possible in that, especially these thin rim basins, which is there in the picture as well. So that is something which is being used a lot these days. We also have under counter basins. This is something that you would have probably seen a lot in commercial spaces as well. So they are used in both residential as well as commercial spaces. There are wall hung basins, again used in both the spaces, and then there are freestanding units. So the usage of these are pretty limited. I'll show you some examples of these in the next slide. What you also require in a basin area is a source of water, right? Because it's supposed to have space for washing hands. So what people usually install is either a pillar tap or a basin mixer. So what's the difference between the two? So a basin mixer, as the name suggests, is something which has provision for providing both hot and cold water, right? And hence the name mixer. So a basin mixer is generally used in places which have extreme water conditions. For example, extreme, hot in the summer and extreme cold weather conditions in the winters. So probably the northern area of the country is a place where these are used a lot, right? Where a pillar tap, on the other hand, is used only to dispense one type of water, usually cold, right? So these are usually used probably in the southern parts of the country where hot water is not that required in the winter season, and hence the difference between the two. So this was basis the the functioning or the water that can come out. We can also define them basis the installation technique. So what you see in the photograph is something which is coming from the counter itself, right? It is either on the wash basin or on the counter, and hence the name table mounted, right? You can because it is installed on a table kind of a object, right? And the other configuration that is possible is having wall mounted stuff. So these wall mounted usually have a concealed part attached to it. What I'll do is I'll show you some photographs in this slide so that you have more idea about the kind of basins and pillar taps that I was talking about in the previous one. So what you see on the extreme left is a tabletop basin with a wall mounted basin mixer, right? So there's a wall mounted option here available. It's not table mounted. There is a concealed part which goes behind the wall, which is responsible for the inlet and outlet of water. What you only see on the outside is a handle to control the flow and the spout through which the water comes out. What we also have examples of are under counter basin mixer with basin mixer and wall mounted basin, right? So all in all, the 4 different types of basins are covered except for the freestanding one, which, like I said, the usage is pretty minimal these days. Coming to the semi-wet area or the WC area, as it is widely called, because that's the main product used in this area. What this usually houses is a water closet. You see someone sitting on it on the right, for example. There's a flushing mechanism which flushes the waste out of the WC. There's a health faucet which is very widely used these days for cleaning purposes. You generally install a bipcock which is used to provide water to the health faucet, and then in some cases you also have a toilet paper holder to house the toilet paper. So these are the main components when it comes to the semi-wet area. Talking more about water closets, since these are a very important part of the bath space, they are basically coming in 2 configurations. There are floor-mounted options available. What we have here is one-piece closets, European water closets. There is also the Indian type of WC, which has been widely used for a lot of time in India, which are also called Odisha pans, Asia pans, Indian pans, depending on the usage. We also have wall-mounted options, which are called wall-hung, right? And basis the configuration of the WC itself, how it is connected to the waistline is also different. So for floor-mounted options, we have what is generally called an S-trap, right? It goes into the floor, and for wall-hung options, we generally have a P-trap, right? So that is how it is connected to the waistline. Again, there are different types of flushing mechanism, and with the advent of technology, these have been improved, vastly throughout the years. So we have a typical washdown technology which utilizes the force of gravity. Probably the first ones which were used. We have a washout technology which is used in Indian style of WCs. What we have now, especially in floor-mounted one-piece closets, is a technique called siphonic flushing, right? So siphonic flushing, as the name indicates, create a very powerful suction force in the closet, which makes sure that the force with which the waste is drawn out is immense, and hence only one flush is required to make it work. Again, in siphonic flushing, further advancements have been made, and now a 4D siphonic flushing mechanism is also available. What it does, it has water holes placed in such a way that a vortex is created when the flushing is activated, and hence the pull is even stronger. What it also enables is a much more silent usage, right? So siphonic and 4D siphonic flushings are the newest advents in technology when it comes to flushing mechanism. They are especially used in one-piece closets, right? For wall-hung closets, since it uses a P-trap system, that suction is not possible because that is only possible in an S-trap kind of a fitment. So for those, what we have these days is something called tornado flushing. It is specially developed for wall-hung WCs, like I said, for the P-trap version, and it also gives a tornado kind of a flow in the WC, so that again the waste is cleared in the first attempt. So this is also a pretty good advancement which has been made in this mechanism in the previous few years. So when it comes to flushing systems, when it comes to one-piece closets, as the name indicates, they are one piece, right? So they have the WC as well as the flushing mechanism integrated with them. So you don't need any other external source which needs to be used for activating the flushing in the WC. Whereas for Indian pans, Odisha pans, Asian pans, EWCs, and wall-hung closets, you need an external flushing mechanism, right? For those purposes, what we have these days are PVCs, concealed cisterns, flush walls in CP fittings, if I talk about them, right? So the purpose of these is pretty simple. They are used to activate the flushing mechanism and provide water to the WC. PVC tanks are plastic tanks. They are economical. They are generally used with Odisha pans or EWCs, like I mentioned. Since EWCs are a more economical version of WCs, they are generally paired with a PVC tank itself. When it comes to wall-hung closets, they are much more premium. They are installed in much more premium settings, and hence usually a concealed cistern is used with wall hungs. Now, what does a concealed cistern mean? Basically, it has a tank which goes behind the wall. What you see in front of the wall is only a plate. I'm pretty sure you guys would have encountered this in many places, even in residential places now, right? So a plate is only visible, which activates the flushing, and hence this gives a very neat and premium look to the bathroom, right? And hence it is much more costlier than a PVC tank, right? So these are the technologies which are being used these days when it comes for additional flushing mechanism. Probably the most talked about area when it comes to a bath space. So this is the area which actually indicates how luxurious you want your bathroom to be, right? It starts with, a normal overhead shower. It can have a telephonic shower, ceiling shower, rainfall shower. So, the possibilities are endless, right? And since the wet area is used for showering purposes, it is also known as a showering area. So coming to the products which are used here, so typically you need to have a mechanism which would enable the flow of water either from the spout or the shower. So we have two basically criteria, two type of products which are used in this area. The first one is called a wall mixer. So this is something which has been used for years, which is now becoming a thing of the, not I won't say of the past, but being replaced by a diverter. So wall mixer has two handles. One is used for controlling hot water, the other one is used for controlling the cold water, right? We have a spout and we have a mechanism through which water can be diverted to a shower, right? What is used these days, or the newest advent in technology when it comes to the showering area, is a diverter concept. So again, this has a concealed body, something that you can see in the golden color, in this image. It goes behind the wall, right? It is made up of brass to ensure stability. And what is visible to the consumer or the user is only the upper plate, which is seen on the right. So again, this has a very premium look to it. It's very modern. It's the newest thing which is coming in showering area these days, and hence these are being increasingly favored when it comes to premium bath spaces, right? So connected to the wall mixer or the diverter, we have showers spaces available. So they start with a normal overhead shower, which is hollow in diameter, but which gives you the option of having multiple floors, right? So that is the most common thing that is seen. What we also see being used these days is something called a rainfall shower, right? So its name is derived from the fact that the flow is almost vertical, and hence it gives the illusion of having rain droplets fall on you, right? So they come in increasing sizes. They are available to the extent of 16 inches, 18 inches, even higher now, right? So they give a very good showering experience, so to say, and hence the name rainfall showers. They do not have multi-flow options available in them, but there are multiple shapes and sizes in which these are available. What we also have are telephonic showers which are connected to the spout. These provide a more functional way of of using the shower, since these are connected with the hose and hence can be used in different spaces, so to say, right? So then, like I mentioned, we have ceiling showers these days. As the name indicates, they are installed directly on the ceiling. There is no shower arm which is required to install them, except from the top, which is not visible. And these are the more uber luxurious options which are coming these days, used generally with thermostats. What they also have now is option for LED, Bluetooth sound speakers, cascaded flow, and and the lights. So there are a lot of options available here. Coming to the kitchen area, like I mentioned, the only product from CP used in kitchen area is something which is called a sink tap. Again, it can have the option of only cold water, which will be called a sink tap. It can have the option of both hot and cold water, and in which case will be called a sink mixer, right? It can again have single handle or double handle, depending on the mechanism, whether a spindle is used or a cartridge is used. Again, it can be deck mounted as well as wall mounted. So both these options are available when it comes to the kitchen area. What we also see in commercial spaces these days, or in larger sinks these days, are these pull-out kind of sink mixers, right? So what they do is they have a 1 feet kind of a hose pipe attached to the mouth itself, which can be pulled out. And hence, if the space is bigger or if there are more utensils in that space, it can be easily used to bring the water to the utensils rather than bringing the utensils to the water space, right? So hence, these are being increasingly used in commercial spaces as well as residential spaces having big sinks. So these are some of the basic products which are used in any house and any bath space. There are some products which are gaining trend now. First we'll talk about sensor faucets, since this is something which is in increasing demand these days, especially after the in the current situation after Corona has hit the world. Right, what they offer is a very hygienic way of washing hands, because there is no touching required. You don't need to touch a handle to switch on the water or switch off the water. Hence, it's very hygienic. What it is also is very water efficient. So it will only work till the time you want the water to be flowing. No one can keep it on. No one can leave it on. And hence, it's very water efficient from that aspect as well. Right. So how it works is it has an infrared sensor. Whenever any object or a hand comes in front of it, the water is dispensed. As soon as you remove the hand, the water switches off. Right. Again, when it comes to configurations, these are also available in table mounted as well as wall mounted models. Table mounted models can be normal height or extended height for tabletop basins. Wall mounted models can have sensor on spout or sensor on wall flanks. So depending on the usage, both these options are available. Since these have electrical components, you usually require some source of electricity to make them work. These are available in DC models, AC models, as well as AC plus DC models, right? So they can be worked on through a power outlet, or they can be worked with a battery. So depending on the space they are being used at, the combination can be chosen. Thermostatic diverters. So basically, these are, I would call, more modern diverters that we talked about. They usually have more than 2 outlets, and hence they are used with body jets and ceiling showers. What is unique about thermostats is that you can set a temperature of water, and these diverter bodies will make sure that the water comes out only at that temperature, right? So how it does that is that there is a wax mechanism which is inside the body, and the valve expands and contracts to make sure that the temperature of the water coming out.
Mr. Bhavya, Mr.
Yeah.
Bhavya, sorry to interrupt. Please
Yeah.
make it fast. Okay, due to the time.
Just one more slide. Just a second.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So, thermostats, like I said, are something which are used for controlling the water temperature. So these are being increasingly used these days. They have a lot more benefits. For example, they have a mechanism to prevent scalding. Temperature is consistent. The life is better. They have more outlets, and hence more luxurious bathrooms can be made with them. Right. They are usually used with ceiling showers and body jets, like I mentioned, and there are many options available for both these types of options. And like I said, different configurations are possible. You see on the left we have ceiling shower with 2 inlets, 2 outlets, along with a body jet. On the right we have a rainfall shower, but with body jet, spout, and telephonic shower. So a lot of different combinations are possible in thermostatic diverters, since the number of outlets are more. I'll finish off with something which is very important, especially in the current scenario. We all need to be very conscious about the environment, and we need to be environmentally responsible as citizens, as professionals, both. We should also think about installing water-saving products in the sites that we are doing, and in the customers that we are catering to. So some of these products, for example, a dual flow aerator is a product which can be installed on any pre-installed faucet. It prevents water wastage by up to 70%. The flow is reduced by 70% to make sure that even if someone leaves it on by mistake, at least there is water saving happening. So because of that, and in normal usage as well, 70% water is saved. We have supplied this product to the Chennai government in last summer when there was a water scarcity in TN, and this is working really well there. What we also have are some green building products. Again, these are IFMO certified for IGBC and LEED green rating systems. So we have a plethora of items when it comes to this. So we just want to close again by saying we need to be more environmentally responsible, and hence green building products would really help us to do that. So this is it from my side. Again, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share this time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavya. I think innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower, and we are seeing how Asian is evolving. I'm sure a lot of us are curious about the products, and I'm sure there'll be many requests for you to follow up. I would quickly take, there are questions and answers. I know we are running behind schedule, but I'll still take a couple of questions that are there. And this one is, I think, directed to Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh. Chennai faced water scarcity last year. What kind of plumbing systems should we have for control use of water so that we won't face scarcity in future? And how abroad cities handle water scarcity situation? There's quite a long question, Prasanna. I'll read it again. Chennai faced water scarcity last year. So what kind of plumbing system should you for controlled use of water? That is one part. And the second is, what is your experience from other countries?
Well, the question has some answer also. See, one end we are having a scarcity of water. We have faced the flooding also, 2015. Nobody will forget. So there is no scarcity of water. The planning of water is a problem here. You get a lot of water every year. So you need to plan your water resources. So water comes every year, as I said, 900, as a Chennai annual rainfall is 900 mm. So plenty of water is there, but there is no proper reservoir, no storage facilities, that even if it is there, that need to be maintained properly. That is the one thing I want to say. Don't be a scarcity, you maintain the resources. That is for sure. And coming to the second point, what I learned a lot, especially abroad, is abroad there is a system is there. I'm sorry to say that India definitely have a system, but their system is being religiously followed. There is from the design part, it won't be only in the paper, it will be executed 100% perfect. So there will be somebody begin to monitor that. Here, when you design it, the output is something. When it goes to the site, output is different. So those things need to be avoided. I would say that engineer perspective and construction perspective, people need to be more educated and they need to do their part. See, the design stage, whatever we are doing it, they're putting some brain into that. That need to be implemented properly. Of course, if you do that, you will have a good output.
Nice. That question was from Tirtha. I hope that answers your question, Tirtha. Moving on to another question, which is from Anju, and I see that you answered it in the chat box, but still. Sir, the difference between PEX and CPVC is only flexibility, or is there any other properties due to which they are widely used now?
No, actually, the idea of PEX evolved maybe 2-3 decades before. I can recall that in 2002, we did a 5-star hotel in Oman. That time we used PEX pipe, whereas India we used only very recently. As I said earlier, PEX pipe is used mainly in hospitality building where they used to renovate their structure completely. 5 years, 6 years, they need to renew their star value, 5-star, 7-star. So they need to revamp, renovate the entire system. So in that case, if you put any rigid pipe, say if it is copper or CPVC, you need to break entire thing. Whereas PEX, you can remove it, only the pipe, clean will remain as it is. That will reduce the workmanship, quality, time delay, and also the cost. That is the one thing aside. Coming to the difference between PEX and CPVC, that is based on the usage. For Indian bathrooms, I would suggest CPVC is enough. If you have a high-end villa with a body shower, rain cover, so you have a lot of things, wet area, dry area, as he said, that area we can try PEX pipe, which is, because that have a cost to it. There is a cost comparatively bit higher than the CPVC, and workmen also not very much available in South India. Only they are good, North India people are available. So that kind of problems are there. But both materials are okay. To finish, to conclude it, PEX pipe is used only for specialized work and high-end work. CPVC can be used everywhere.
I have another question for you, Prasanna, which has come to me, I think, on a PM. But the person wants to know that there are so many body showers and newer spa fittings that are being used, and they recommend using pressure pumps with it. So,
Yes.
what kind of plumbing is required, or what as a designer should I prepare for?
See, nice question. I love to answer this. See, the main problem is that people used to spend lakhs and lakhs of money on the showers and rain skies and bathtubs. Whereas when it comes to the pressure, they need to have good pressure to enjoy that outcome. Whatever money put into, they need to enjoy it. How they enjoy it if there is no pump properly? There should be a proper pump which should be dedicated only for the bathrooms. It should not be complete for the building, because that particular bathroom should have a certain pressure. Body shower should have more pressure. Then only you feel like you enjoy it. So based on the bath fittings, number of fittings, and height of the building, where it is located, we can design the pump, booster pump dedicated for that. That's how they have to do it.
Thank you so much. I think that answers quite a few questions, Anju, Tirtha, and there are a lot of requests for more resources or sharing of the resource that you've done today, which I have typed in our mail ID. You can always request, and either MGR University and Triple ID, both of us will be very happy to share these with you all. Moving on, I think for Asian, Bhavya, there's a lot of requests for resources from you, Bhavya, in a way of how they can connect Chennai, contact or walk into Asian showrooms also. It is one of the latest that they have shared here. And there's a lot of curiosity about the sink fitting that you've shown for the kitchen, which had a shower-like flexible handle.
Yeah, the pull-out sink one.
What is the kind of fitting? Can it be used with traditional sink? And what kind of plumbing would be required with it?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for the question. It works with any kind of plumbing. So that's the first thing. You don't need to, reinvent the plumbing system to install that. It can be used with any sink, like I mentioned, but its usability in larger sinks is higher, since the pull-out hose makes it easier to reach, far in spaces as well. That pull-out hose usually has a length of 1.5 feet.
and hence the usage increases because of that. I hope I was able to answer. Is there any part which I missed?
I think you did, and I think there's people who will walk into your showroom also, and they're wanting your catalogs. So all the best. I'm sure there'll be more people using water, saving water. So now we come on. I would invite feedback from students and participants. If you have any feedback for today's session, which part of it did you like? I think I have a message from Anju. Anju, you're a student of MGR University, is
Yes,
it?
yes, ma'am.
I would invite
Thank
you
you.
to have a feedback.
Thank you so much, sir. It was very informative. Since I had a doubt in PEX, I guess you explained it very well. Thank you so much for the explanation, sir.
Thank you. It is very heartening for us when we see that there are questions. That means we are getting somewhere with everyone. And I think there's another student, Gautam, who's texted that he has a feedback, or anyone else who wants to provide a feedback for today's session and for today's speakers. There's someone, UK Designs, who says plumbing was well explained.
Thank you.
See, for all of us, this is a bridge course, basically, because all of you are studying, a lot of you are studying, your students, and a lot of you are young practitioners, but to learn from the expert himself on what we should be careful. Akshaya Loganathan has written, I like PEX pipe explanation. Sumit Chaturvedi has written, it's been a great experience and learned a lot from Dream Zone, Tollygunj. Okay, thank you, Sumit, for the feedback. And the HOD of Architecture faculty. So one of the faculty is written, very informative and neat of the hour. I would invite our immediate past president, Architect Srinivasan. He has been patiently giving us and observing everything. So to share his impressions today about today's meeting, there are two of them.
Good evening. It was a wonderful presentation by Prasanna Venkatesh, though there was a great challenges were there. In spite of that, breaking all those blocks and then making these things to flow, it's very nice. And then, in fact, it was a very small chip of an iceberg where he has to explain about this particular subject in a vast way, which takes much more time. It is a very wonderful subject which I've been listening, and we have been experiencing for the last, at least myself, for the last 30 years, where we have been using more on this plumbing, sanitation, and all these kind of where the new developments and the trendy ways of presentation also is being executed time on time. Of course, when he is exposing about how projects is being executed in the in abroad situations also is very nice, and we need to go through that also a little more broader way in subsequent session when we find time to invite Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh. And I would also like to thank Mr. Bhavesh Jain for presenting about the Asian coming out with the Barsense. Where of course the verticals of course we know about the establishment about the Asian paints, and they're coming out with this, and this one also is very more welcoming one. Being an architect and interior designers, we are welcoming more number of challenging companies who have to come with a very good designs, and it is wonderful. But in fact, to highlight certain things, when here engineer Prasanna Venkatesh was mentioning about we have been, Chennai has been flooding periodically, even last 2015 also we have. And from the plumbing associations, in fact, I have also seen in Pune, one of the plumbing association has got a wonderful presentation where anybody who wants to learn about the sanitations, if we can go there in Pune association, you can go through that. Physically, everything is been exhibited, how a water is being coming, flowing, and taking the sanitation, how it is taking a through from cleaning to the soil and all these areas. like that, we have to host one particular, this one in Chennai. That is number one. Number two is, what kind of a blueprint this kind of an association is being given to the government so that we will at least save the water in future flooding of this kind, or regulate the water to channelize and make use of it in a better form. These are the two requests I think I am asking through Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh, because he's been in that particular area. So maybe everything should start with a small scratch. So the thing is, the small spark of an idea can make things much better. And if all of us, in fact, I don't think it is only the plumbing consultants and all the EPC consultants, MEP consultants alone can have to do this. Every architects and interior designers should also have some visionary apart from their private projects. How we can naturally support our society and sustain and then restore this kind of a water which is wasting onto the ocean. And if the Plumbing Association is coming forward for such a kind of a support from AAID and the Indian Institute of Architects, definitely the association will be extending the better support. So I feel we have to do something of that kind. And the presentations today is really a thought-provoking and it's mind-blowing. And of course, most of the students, it's very nice. It's also a self-awakening. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prasanna and Mr. Bhavi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rashmi, Rashmi, are you here? I saw her in and I think she's gone out. Rashmi, are you here? Our Honorary Secretary, Rashmi, is another very active person and supports us on all educational projects quite a bit. But since I can't hear her, I'll move on to our next one. You know, the best way, they say, is to learn from experience. It is wiser to learn. It is said that you're wise to learn from experience, but even wiser to learn from the experiences of others. So that is what we were doing today from you, Prasanna, and from you, Bhavya. So the committee has created a small memento for both of you for freely sharing your knowledge and sharing it with us, enlightening us. And today we are better equipped. I'm sure all the audience and the participants would also agree.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Mr. Ramalingam is there. He's our senior most architect from Madurai. And he's also there. We can also ask his impressions. Please welcome.
I missed the name.
Mr. Ramalingam.
Architect Ramalingam, if in case you're here, sir, we would love to hear your impression of the meeting today. Architect Ramalingam. I guess they're not.
He's there, but I don't know.
So I would
go ahead.
And then we will call him again and we'd be happy to take his feedback. In the meanwhile, I'll hand it over to Vidya. I think she's ready with her memento for the two speakers today. Vidya and Priya.
Yeah, Pranita. I would like our Dean, Dr. Shweta Madhusudan. Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your brainstorming session, Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh, sir, and Bhavya Jain for enriching us with your water knowledge on water resources. Thank you so much. It was indeed a very excellent session. I hope our students have gained, and I think there'll be a big rush to our showroom, Bhavya. So all the best to you. And on behalf of Faculty of Architecture, Dr.MGR University, a small felicitation from our end to Mr. Prasanna Venkatesh. This was done by our artist Mohan Kumar.
How fast they did.
Hope you like it. And this is for Bhavya.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So hope to receive you, sir, to our college. If everything goes better, I think we'll definitely invite you for one more presentation, an elaborate presentation maybe for masters. We can have a presentation. And also Bhavya, I think all our professionals may rush to your showroom for a lot of pictures.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Pranita, very beautifully compared. Please, thank you so much. And Jay Pandian sir, thanks for collaborating with us. And like you have actually taken our words because I was very much particular about services seminar and webinars on services, which you have tried to address. Thank you so much. And of course, Vaidyanathan sir, who has introduced me to me. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you, and thank you, my dear students and faculty, and all other participants who have taken the time and spent 2 hours with us. Thank you so much. And thank you, Triple ID, once again, and hope to meet with you soon for next sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am.
Thank you so much for those encouraging words, Shweta ma'am. As we come to the end, I just need to announce that Decode is an ongoing series on technical session. And our next session is really interesting. It's being handled by an expert on lighting design. Lighting design, there'll be 2 sessions, 2 parts, one on 22nd and one on 29th of August. It is being taken by Dr. Amardeep, who has done his master's in lighting design from Germany and then done his doctorate in lighting design. So let us all connect back to learn better about lighting in the next session of Decode. And thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to even better and more participation from all of you in our next session on 22nd of August. Same time, same place, signing off. Thank you, Pranita. Thank you from Triple ID.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.